Hi guys, welcome to Fortnite 101. I'm MasterL1988, and in this video we're going to be going over one of the key aspects of Fortnite. It's the skill of building. Now Fortnite differs from other Battle Royale games in that you can't just destroy your surroundings, you can create them as well. At the advanced levels this can get very convoluted and complex, but we're going to focus on the simple tips and tricks for beginning and less experienced players to get a foothold in the world of building. Make yourself a harder target, as well as help you get a few cheeky shots on your opponents. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, we've gone into the Battle Lab. The Battle Lab is a mode on the Battle Royale game, which allows you to enter the Fortnite map completely unpopulated, or with people if you prefer. For example, you could always pick up these enemy bot grenades, which will spawn an artificial intelligence enemy for you to shoot at. But we're going to be concentrating on building. So, when you're in the Battle Lab, harvesting materials becomes a lot easier. Normally, this tractor would give me around 20 to 30 metal for complete destruction. But, if you notice, I'm getting 55 metal for 2 swings of the pickaxe. So, before we start building with the materials we've harvested, I have pre-harvested some wood. We're going to go into our settings. Going to go to the controller settings. I would personally recommend you use the Builder Pro setting, which is just on the left of your menu screen, just behind where you see my face. So, it is there. What this does is it allows you to have stair piece, roof piece, wall piece and floor piece, your 4 key pieces for building, all assigned to one of your shoulder and trigger buttons. Personally, I think this is the easiest way to build. Otherwise, you will simply have the same format as you have for weapons. You press your circle button or the corresponding Xbox controller button to get into your building. Now, for me, I've got all of these items assigned to different shoulder and trigger buttons. So, a wall is R2, a floor is R1, L2 is a stair, and L1 is a cone. However, if you have not used the Builder Pro function, then you will have to scroll all across them using R1 and L1, just as you would with your weaponry tab. So, now that we've seen these 4 items, these 4 wall pieces, stair pieces, floor pieces and cone pieces, what can we do with them? Now, when most people are being shot at, it's completely natural to panic a little bit, to freak out a little bit if you're not used to it. It's completely understandable and nothing to be ashamed of. But one thing you'd want to build into your reflex is, if you're not in a safe place where you can return and fire without getting hit, or at least without getting hit much, then you want to quickly put down some defensive pieces. Now for most people, they're going to go and put up a wall. Then they're going to try and poke out to the side there and take their shot. As a standing target, this isn't bad. It provides protection to most of your body, whilst you just poke your head out around there. The guns are all right side holstered, so you ideally want to peek outside from the right hand side. This makes it a lot harder for your opponents to get a shot on you and much easier for you to survive. But if you're on the move, so you're running towards someone, say that windmill is my target, is my opponent. If I'm running towards him, oops, no, I've got to move this aside. Oops, oh, no, that's got in the way as well. You see, I keep getting stuck. But in this situation, the solution is simple. Instead of a wall, we're going to put down a ramp. So this way, it's providing the same level of protection. I can still peek out onto the side, but if I'm moving towards, I can just simply run over it and keep going. This additional upwards and downwards motion makes it all the more difficult for your opponent to get you in their sights and take a shot. So, if you're stationary and your opponent is not moving too much, then a wall is just fine. But if you and or your opponent is moving, slap down a ramp instead. And that way, you can easily use the protection of the ramp whilst using its mobility as well. The wall will stop you from moving forwards. There is the edit function, but we're going to get to that. So, you want to use a ramp. This is the first thing. Simple, stationary, one-piece defense. This is the absolute basic level. The first step on your journey to becoming a Builder Pro. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is a simple evolution of that one-piece defense. The two-piece defense. Now, these pieces only have between 150 and 140 health. As you can see, they're quite brittle. A couple of shots, even with just as your pickaxe, will destroy them. So, what do you do to make them last that little bit longer? If you don't have the option of using a stronger material, for example, brick or metal, then your best bet is simply put down two pieces. So here we've put down a ramp and a wall. So to see that the other way around, we've got a wall and a ramp. So now, instead of 150 or 140 health for our defense, we've now got 290 health. This is a simple evolution of the one-piece defense, and it is simply a two-piece defense. This is the next step on your way to being a building pro. So, now you've got your two-piece defense. What about if someone's coming up behind you, or from the sides? What do you do then? Well, the simple answer is, when you've got your ramp, simply place down 3 walls around you to cover your sides and your back. Now, you're much harder to hit from all sides, bar the top, and you can see clearly what's going on. You don't even need to be at the top of your ramp to get a pretty clear view of what's going on around you. This is a boxed ramp. It's very simple, and with Builder Pro on and Turbo Build, it's very easy to do. So we'll get to Turbo Build in just a moment. So, to make a boxed ramp, simply putting down a wall, a ramp next to it, oops, and 3 walls around the side and back. Do be careful where you are aiming, when you're placing the walls, because as you just saw, when I aimed a little bit higher up, it put a wall between my two builds just here. Just like with the sights on your gun, the higher up you aim, the higher up and further away your shots will go, and your builds will go. So, it's best to aim, rather than here, just simply more close to the ground. That way, you're less likely to put a build in a place you didn't mean to put it. So, when you're building, you start off having to press one button for one piece. To start off with, this is fine. This is good. You have complete control over what you're doing. But sometimes, you don't have the time to be putting down an individual piece because you've got somebody shooting at you. They're coming in quickly, and you really need to get that defense up very quickly. So, this is where Turbo Build comes in. So we're going to go into our settings, into the game settings, and in building, we have the option for Turbo Build. Turbo Build allows you to keep building a specific piece as long as its corresponding button is held down. If you haven't got Builder Pro on, then it's just the trigger button, R2, hold it down, and that'll keep on building that piece as long as there's space, materials, and the button held down. So, a good option is to have Turbo Build on when you're more comfortable with what you're building. So, I mentioned having to get your defenses up quickly. So, if I wanted it to, for example, I wanted to make my boxed ramp. So, what normally would have taken me 5 clicks has instead taken me 2. One for the ramp, and one for the 4 walls. This saves time enormously, and when you're familiar with the patterns, then it's very easy to do. So if I want to, for example, I want to climb up over there to that silo. I need to get up there quickly. So with just holding down on ramp, I've managed to get there in one push of the button, and now I need to get across. So I'm just simply going to press down for the floor. Very simple. This is the benefit of Turbo Builder, and if you're exploring or trying to get it away, building a bridge, whatever, Turbo Build makes things much simpler, because instead of having to constantly click the button, click the button, click the button, which can take your concentration as well, you can just simply hold it down and you can make nice big double ramps, minimum of effort, and you're all good. This is Turbo Build, and it's an important and useful tool for your next step to becoming a building pro. Sometimes you get shot at and you don't know where it's coming from. So, a good basic all-round defense is called the 1x1. This is what we're going to do. We're going to go into build. We have our walls selected, and if you've got Turbo Build on, you just simply hold down the button and twirl your perspective around, and then for above, you can just put down a floor and a cone on top of it. Here we have a nice, sturdy, well, reasonably sturdy anyway, defense which at the very least will allow you to see where you're being shot from. Each of the pieces have got their own health bar here, and if you're not sure where you're being hit and shot from, you just simply see which piece is being hit, and then you'll see the general direction where they're coming from, allowing you to then scan around to find where your next target is. The last basic technique we're going to cover for building is the ramped 1x1. This is very similar to both the 1x1 and the boxed ramp. It is essentially just a combination of both. So we're going to go into build, going to put down our wall, we're going to put down a ramp, we're going to wall up around us, and put our roof defenses in there as well. You don't have to put the ramp down first, you can put the ramp down on last, and this can be a good idea if you're not sure which side your opponents are coming from. The ramp inside the box provides that extra bit of defense, just like the cone on top of the roof does. You have the strength of 2 pieces instead of just the 1. This is made even stronger if you use a stronger metal or brick piece. This is very good if you need just a few seconds to bring your health or shield back up by using some medical items. This is the ramped 1x1. It's a useful technique and a simple one as well. You're simply doing the same thing that you've been doing in your 1x1 and boxed ramp practices, and doing them both together. So that about wraps it up for this introduction to some basic building techniques to familiarize yourself with the mechanics of building in Fortnite. These techniques are very useful and can be erected very quickly, but may require a little bit of practice, so feel free to go back in the video and re-watch anything that you're not entirely sure of. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and receive more content when it becomes available. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.